Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a humble laborer named Rohan. Every day, from dawn till dusk, he toiled under the scorching sun, digging up soil, loading it onto his donkey, and selling it in the marketplace. His life was simple, dictated by routine, and he never expected anything extraordinary to happen. One day, as Rohan was digging near an old riverbank, his shovel struck something hard. Curious, he brushed away the dirt and uncovered a gleaming stone radiant under the sunlight, yet unfamiliar to him. He had never seen such a thing before, but to his untrained eye, it was just another shiny rock. Not knowing its worth, he tied it around his donkey's neck, believing it to be nothing more than a trinket. As he walked through the village with his donkey, the stone caught the eye of a wealthy merchant who ran a small grocery shop. The merchant, intrigued by its brilliance, called out to Rohan. "What is that shining stone around your donkey's neck?" he asked. Rohan shrugged. "I found it while digging. It looks nice, doesn't it?" The merchant, seeing an opportunity, offered to buy it. "I'll give you 50 rupees for it." Without hesitation, Rohan agreed. To him, 50 rupees was a fair price for a simple stone. The merchant, pleased with his purchase, hung the stone on his shop's weighing scale, treating it as nothing more than a decorative piece. Days passed, and villagers admired the stone whenever they visited the shop. Its radiance was undeniable, but none knew its true value until one day, a jeweler stopped by. The moment the jeweler saw the stone, his eyes widened in shock. He stepped closer, inspecting it carefully, and then turned to the merchant. "Where did you get this?" he asked. "Oh, just from a laborer," the merchant said casually. "I bought it for 50 rupees. The jeweler's heart pounded. He knew exactly what he was looking at, a priceless diamond, worth a fortune. Keeping his excitement in check, he asked, "Would you sell it to me?" The merchant smirked. "If you want it, give me 100 rupees, and it's yours." The jeweler hesitated. Greed clouded his judgment. "I'll give you 80, he countered. "That's my best offer." The merchant refused, 100 or nothing. Thinking he could return the next day and negotiate a lower price, the jeweler left, convinced he was being smart. That evening, fate took another turn. A second jeweler, passing through the village, stopped at the shop after his carriage broke down. As he waited for repairs, he noticed the stone hanging from the scale. Unlike the first jeweler, he didn't hesitate. He knew a rare opportunity when he saw one. "I'll buy this stone for 100 rupees, he said at once. The merchant, true to his word, sold it. The next morning, the first jeweler returned, ready to make his offer, but the stone was gone. "Where is it?" he asked, panic creeping into his voice. "Sold," the merchant replied. Another gentleman came and bought it for 100 rupees. The jeweler's face turned pale. "You fool. That wasn't just a shiny stone, it was a priceless diamond. And you let it go for 100 rupees. The merchant chuckled. "I may be a fool for not knowing its worth, but you who knew its value still argued over 20 rupees and let it slip away. So tell me, who is the real fool?" The jeweler stood frozen, regret washing over him. The truth was undeniable. His greed had cost him a fortune. This story reminds us of an essential truth: opportunities don't wait. In life, hesitation, greed, and the illusion of being too clever can make you lose what could have been a golden chance. When opportunity knocks, don't waste time bargaining with fate. Seize it before it slips away. But this tale isn't just about missed opportunities. It's about recognizing value in unexpected places. Rohan, the laborer, didn't know what he had found. The merchant saw some value but still underestimated it. Only the jewelers recognized its true worth, yet one let greed stand in his way. How often do we overlook the diamonds in our own lives? The talents we possess but don't nurture, the relationships we take for granted, the moments of joy we rush through without appreciation. Like Rohan with his diamond, we sometimes carry treasures without recognizing their worth. Consider how many opportunities we miss daily because we're too busy, too distracted, or too focused on getting a better deal. The first jeweler lost a fortune, over 20 rupees, a trivial amount compared to what he could have gained. How many of us have lost promotions, relationships, or experiences because we were haggling over details that, in retrospect, seem insignificant? There's a profound lesson here about timing too. The second jeweler arrived at precisely the right moment and acted decisively. He didn't overthink or try to outsmart the situation. He recognized value and seized the opportunity immediately. In our fast-paced world, timing is often everything. Markets shift in seconds. Job openings are filled quickly. Relationships form and dissolve in moments of connection or disconnection. The right time is almost always now. This story also speaks to the nature of knowledge and how we use it. The first jeweler had knowledge but failed to act wisely on it. Knowledge without action is merely potential. It's what we do with what we know that matters. Think about your own life. What knowledge do you possess that you're not acting on? What opportunities have you recognized but hesitated to pursue? What diamonds might be hanging around your neck, unappreciated? The merchant in our story represents another interesting character, someone who didn't know the true value of what he had but set a price and stuck to it. There's wisdom in his consistency. He didn't know he had a diamond, but he knew what he wanted for the stone, and he didn't waver. Sometimes standing firm on your values, even when you don't see the full picture, can lead to better outcomes than constantly adjusting based on others' reactions. And what about Rohan, our humble laborer? He sold a fortune for 50 rupees and never knew what passed through his hands. Is his story a tragedy? Perhaps not. Ignorance protected him from the regret that tormented the first jeweler. Sometimes, not knowing what we've missed spares us unnecessary pain. But there's more to consider here. What if Rohan had educated himself about precious stones? What if he had taken the time to ask someone knowledgeable before selling his find? His life could have transformed completely. This raises questions about education and awareness. How many of us go through life without the knowledge to recognize the opportunities before us? How many diamonds do we sell for 50 rupees because we don't know any better? The story also illustrates how value is relative and subjective. To Rohan, 50 rupees was valuable. To the merchant, the stone was worth 100 rupees. To the jeweler, it was priceless. The diamond didn't change, only the perception of its worth did. This applies to so many aspects of life. The value of time, relationships, experiences, and even material possessions isn't fixed. It depends on our perspective, knowledge, and circumstances. What seems worthless to one person might be priceless to another. Consider how this plays out in our daily lives. The skills we take for granted might be precisely what someone else desperately needs. The knowledge we consider basic might be revolutionary to someone without access to it. The time we waste might be time someone else would treasure. There's also a lesson here about greed and satisfaction. The merchant was content with doubling his investment from 50 to 100 rupees. He didn't know he could have asked for thousands or more, but his satisfaction with a reasonable profit brought him peace. The first jeweler, knowing the true value, couldn't be satisfied with making a good deal. He had to make the best possible deal. And in pursuing that perfect outcome, he lost everything. How often does perfectionism or excessive optimization cost us valuable opportunities? How many times do we walk away from good deals in search of perfect ones, only to end up with nothing? The second jeweler embodies a balanced approach. He recognized the value, acted decisively, and accepted the terms offered without haggling. He didn't try to squeeze every last rupee from the transaction. He saw a diamond being sold for the price of a meal and seized the opportunity immediately. This balanced approach, recognizing value without becoming obsessed with maximizing every transaction, often leads to greater success in the long run. It builds relationships, maintains goodwill, and keeps opportunities flowing. There's wisdom in knowing when to negotiate hard and when to simply say yes. The most successful people aren't those who extract the maximum value from every single interaction, but those who know which battles to fight and which opportunities to seize without hesitation. The story also reminds us that knowledge carries responsibility. The first jeweler knew what he had found but tried to use his knowledge to take advantage of the merchant's ignorance. In the end, his attempt to leverage his superior knowledge backfired. In contrast, imagine if he had been honest. "This is a diamond worth thousands," he might have said. "I'll give you a fair price of 500 rupees, much more than you're asking, but still a good deal for me." Such honesty might have built a relationship with the merchant, leading to future opportunities and a reputation for fairness. Knowledge used with integrity often yields better long-term results than knowledge used for exploitation. The jeweler's expertise could have been a tool for mutual benefit rather than a weapon for personal gain. As we reflect on this story, we might ask ourselves, how do we use our specialized knowledge? Do we leverage it to create win-win scenarios? Or do we use it to extract maximum value at others' expense? The tale of Rohan and the diamond also speaks to the role of luck in our lives. Rohan stumbled upon a fortune by chance. The merchant happened to see it and buy it. The second jeweler's carriage broke down at precisely the right moment for him to discover the diamond. Luck plays a role in all our lives, but what matters most is how we respond to lucky moments. Do we recognize them? Do we act on them? Or do we let them slip away, only to realize later what we've missed? preparation meets opportunity. That's often how luck works. The second jeweler was prepared with knowledge about diamonds and the decisiveness to act when opportunity presented itself. His luck was partly a product of his readiness. How prepared are we to recognize and seize the opportunities that come our way? Have we developed the knowledge, skills, and mindset to make the most of fortunate circumstances? In the end, this simple village tale contains wisdom that applies to business, relationships, personal development, and nearly every aspect of life. It reminds us to recognize value, even in unexpected places. Act decisively when opportunity presents itself. You know when to negotiate and when to simply say yes. Use knowledge with integrity. Prepare ourselves to make the most of lucky moments. Avoid letting greed or perfectionism cost us valuable opportunities. Remember that the right time is almost always now. As we go about our daily lives, diamonds of opportunity surround us. Some are obvious, gleaming in the sunlight. Others are hidden, covered in the dirt of routine and familiarity. The question isn't whether these opportunities exist, it's whether we have the wisdom to recognize them and the courage to seize them before they're gone. The first jeweler's regret is a warning to all of us. Don't be the person who recognizes a diamond but haggles over pennies until the opportunity slips away. Be the one who sees value and acts with appropriate decisiveness. Be the one who knows that sometimes the difference between success and failure isn't knowledge or luck, it's simply the willingness to say yes at the right moment. The moral remains clear: opportunities don't wait. When they knock, open the door wide and welcome them in. The right time is always now.